Thanks for joining us. You're watching Arirang News Break on this Wednesday, July 27th. I'm Handaeun in Seoul. Hillary Clinton has clinched the Democratic Party nomination and walked into history, becoming the first female presidential candidate to ever represent a major American political party. The former Secretary of State secured more than the required number of delegates for the nomination during a roll call vote Tuesday evening on the floor of the Democratic National Convention, now underway in Philadelphia. The vote ended with a gesture of solidarity from Clinton's rival, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who moved to make the nomination unanimous. He has been trying to get his most ardent supporters to accept Clinton as the nominee amid an email scandal that has roiled the party in recent days. Clinton is scheduled to give her acceptance speech on Thursday. The ASEAN Regional Forum came to a close in Laos last night. A joint statement is set to be issued soon, but as our Kwon So-ah reports, there were no dramatic solutions to existing security conflicts in the region.
The key issue for South Korea at the 23rd round of the ASEAN Regional Forum was North Korea and its nuclear and missile threats. As all 27 members make statements on their regional issues, South Korea's top diplomat Yoon Byung-se gave a strong message on the North's continuous violations when it was his turn to speak at the ARF.
I explained to many colleagues before and during the meeting the severity of North Korea's nuclear issue and asked for them to make statements on the strict implementation of the UN Security Council resolution. Most ministers have actively shown cooperation on that request.
North Korea's top diplomat Lee Yong-ho, for whom the ARF was the first appearance at an international event, has defended Pyongyang's nuclear development and also held a press briefing after the meeting. He explained North Korea's presence at the ARF, saying current tensions could seriously escalate, referring to the international community's response to its nuclear tests, including the unprecedented strong sanctions from the UN Security Council. Lee said everyone is doing nuclear tests, claiming he doesn't understand why only the North's nuclear ambitions are deemed as a threat. When asked by reporters about another nuclear test, he said that depends on the US's attitude. On the resumption of the stalled six-party denuclearization talks, Lee said that's disappeared into thin air, again blaming the US. However, officials here say the North's rhetoric in the statement was nothing new. Attention is on a joint statement to be issued by the host country Laos, but it won't be all smooth sailing as member nations have conflicting views on different matters, especially the South China Sea dispute and the deployment of the US missile defense system THAAD. The statement may need days or even a week to be issued, according to officials. With the South China Sea, THAAD, and the North Korea issue all diplomatically correlated, there are concerns that the results of this year's ARF may have only underscored the ongoing tensions in the region. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News, Vientiane.
And after that apparent threat from Pyongyang's top diplomat in Laos, the United States has urged North Korea to refrain from rhetoric and actions that destabilize Northeast Asia. Katina Adams, a spokeswoman for the U.S. State Department's East Asia and Pacific Affairs Bureau, told Seoul-based Yonhap News on Tuesday that North Korea should instead focus on taking concrete steps toward fulfilling its international obligations. Meanwhile, South Korea's Deputy National Security Advisor Cho Tae-yong has arrived in Washington for talks with U.S. officials on pressuring North Korea over its weapons programs. He said despite the North's desire to frame it otherwise, it is an issue between the entire international community and North Korea, not a matter between the U.S. and the North. Korea's consumer sentiment has improved slightly to its highest point in 3 months. The Bank of Korea says the consumer sentiment index came in at 101 in July, up 2 points from last month. A reading above 100 means optimists outnumber pessimists. The monthly index reflects a consumer's outlook on the economy, their living conditions, and future spending plans. The uptick in sentiment comes amid an easing of concerns surrounding the possible fallout from Brexit. The reading had been below 100 in the previous 2 months due to the government's ongoing corporate restructuring drive over fears of massive layoffs in the country's shipping and shipbuilding industries. One of the 2 men who attacked a Catholic church in Normandy yesterday, killing the priest, has been identified. It's the second deadly attack in 2 weeks in France, a nation already on edge and under a state of emergency. Park Jong-hong has the latest.
One of the 2 dead assailants who stormed a French church, killed a priest, and took 4 hostages has been identified as 19-year-old Adel Karamish. He had tried to reach Syria twice last year and was arrested in Germany after trying to use his brother's ID. French prosecutor Francois Molin said he was later put under electronic surveillance. The attack, which took place Tuesday in a suburb northwest of Paris, happened when the 2 men interrupted a morning mass. Police say the 84-year-old priest was killed with a knife. Witnesses say the assailants forced him to his knees and slit his throat as they chanted in Arabic. The whole act was reportedly videotaped. Police shot and killed both attackers as they emerged from the building. One of the attackers was found to have been carrying a fake explosives belt made of aluminum foil and 3 knives. President Francois Hollande, who went to the scene, described the killing of the priest as a, quote, desecration of French democracy, carried out by 2 Islamic State militants.
In the face of this threat that has never been greater in France and Europe, the government is absolutely determined to defeat terrorism.
France was already under high alert after an attack in Nice 2 weeks ago that left 84 people dead and scores wounded, as well as a string of other terror incidents. Following the Nice attack, France extended its state of emergency, giving police extra powers to carry out searches and place people under house arrest. Park Jong-hong, Arirang News.
That's all for now. Keep it tuned to Arirang for more domestic and global headlines throughout the day. Thank you for watching.